My friends told me Zoe was a gold digger, and I always said they were out of their minds. I only saw the electric blue eyes, the bleach blonde hair, and the beautiful woman in her. To be completely honest, I knew she was high maintenance, and maybe that's what drew me to her in the first place. What I didn't know was that she'd use my money to maintain her lifestyle as soon as we got married. At first, I was happy to pay for things. I loved spoiling my wife, of course. But then, she started getting Botox in places she didn't even need. She bought cars I didn't even see her drive, and gym equipment that never materialized. She was always with her girlfriends, shopping till they dropped and getting revitalized in spas when they did drop. All paid for by my card, of course. Now, I worked hard for that money. Really hard. I thought I'd done enough work that I could retire early and enjoy the fruits of my labor. But Zoe made sure I didn't. One day, she told me her girlfriends are moving in. Why do they need to move here? I asked her. In that cute voice of hers, she looked up at me and said, "Well, 'cause they live so far, and fuel's so expensive, you'll end up saving a lot if they just lived here with us." I've been paying for their gas? I exclaimed, unaware that was even happening. She batted her eyelashes at me and said, "Pretty please." And just like that, I was under her spell again. I've always wondered why Zoe and her friends were always at home, as if none of them led lives outside of malls and spas. I was happy to have Zoe with me all the time, but it felt like I was paying her way through life. We didn't even have kids to take care of, but she drained my accounts as if we had 5. And indeed, we had 5 mouths to feed, in Courtney, Mia, Alejandra, Siri, and Joe. Why don't you gals get a job or something, you know? Could be good to pass the time, and maybe even help with expenses? I suggested to Zoe one day. She looked at me as if the notion deeply offended her. She and her crew stood up, looked at me as if I was some disgusting pile of steaming poo, and walked away. That was the last time I tried to breach the subject. Zoe's girlfriends had been living at my house for over 6 months when I finally got a chance to use my own card. But when I was about to use it for an online purchase, it got declined. From behind me, Zoe said, "I was gonna ask you about that." I felt my blood begin to boil. After an hour on the phone with the bank, I learned that not only did my beautiful, sweet wife max out my cards, she also took out a massive loan in my name. "That's fraud, Zoe!" I yelled at her. Seemingly unbothered, Zoe began filing her nails. "Why did you take out a loan against the house?" I asked, still trying to convince myself that she may have a good reason. I still wanted to believe that she was not just some gold digger. "I needed to buy a condo," she said. "Why would you need a condo?" I asked, pulling clumps of my hair out in frustration. "We already have this massive house where you're able to fit all 5 of your girlfriends." "It's not for me, dum-dum," she said, as if she wasn't living, breathing, and eating in a world that I paid for with my literal sweat and tears. "It's for my cousin, Lorenzo." "Yeah, do you expect Lorenzo to starve in the streets? Huh?" said Courtney out of nowhere with so much aggression, it was almost as if she wasn't living in my house. "Poor Lorencito," she exclaimed. "I don't even know this guy," I said. "And for pity's sake, you didn't need to buy him a house. How about helping him out with rent? Like, at least talk to me about it. It's my money after all." The last bit seemed to strike a nerve. Zoe raised her eyebrow at me. Courtney stood up from her seat and clapped twice in my face. "Excuse me?" she exclaimed. "Yes, you're excused," I said to Courtney. "In fact, why don't you and the rest of Leech Incorporated leave us to talk about our stuff, yeah?" Courtney and Zoe's 4 other girlfriends gasped in unison. Zoe stood up, her face a picture of defiance. "That's all right, Courtney. I can fight my own battles," she said, dismissing her posse of angry, clucking chickens. "Yes, Courtney, y'all done enough, seeing as you eat and live here, free of charge," I said. Zoe rounded on me with crazy eyes. "Who gave you the right to talk to my friends like that?" Leech Incorporated stayed. Instead of leaving, they took their seats, savoring the verbal assault they expected me to get from Zoe. Their hero. Their messiah. "Get it, girl," said Courtney, egging her on. The rest of the girls fixed their eyes on me, their faces a visible display of disgust. Zoe went on a tirade. How dare you limit me and belittle my friends? If you can't handle me, if you can't afford me, you should have said so before you married me so I could find someone else. You don't even deserve me. Look at you. All you're good for is paying for things. I can get anyone I want. And I deserve to. I deserve more. You're just a simp and you should act like it. You should grovel at my feet. You should even thank me for staying with you. You're not worth the attention I give you. I bet you I can walk down the street and find someone better. Just like that. She snapped her fingers at each one of those last 3 words she spoke, and her gaggle of hens erupted in cheers and applause. She wanted to humiliate me. She wanted to show her dominance. She wanted to show that I couldn't stand to lose her. Go ahead, I said flatly. That was not what they were expecting to hear. What? Said Zoe. I said, go ahead. Get out and find someone else. I mean, I want to see you try, I told her. It was over then. Zoe didn't manage to come up with a comeback. She sat there quietly, judging me like her friends did. But I was done. I pretended to apologize. I told them they could use a different card. A new one. And through that, I could trace every purchase they made instantly. I limited their expenses to only basic needs. I was done, but I wasn't heartless. I was simply gearing up for my plan. I worked my butt off. Day and night, I worked non-stop so I could pay back the debt my wife and her friends had sunk me into. I worked until the bags under my eyes were as big as the Hermes bag Zoe was so fond of, just so I could keep a roof over our heads, put food on the table, and pay for their silly little Amazon purchases. See, Zoe didn't want to sign divorce papers, and when I hired a private investigator, I found out Lorenzo wasn't even her cousin. He was her personal trainer that she'd been cheating on me with whenever Zoe and the girls went to the gym. She bought him cars, the condo, and so much gym equipment. He could have started his own gym. I couldn't get any proof that she'd been cheating, so the lawyer I was talking to said the judge wouldn't grant me an annulment. But I knew I had to get my revenge. So I befriended Lorenzo. Luckily, he didn't know what I looked like. We became fast friends, and one day, after playing ball with him, I asked, "Hey man, you're single, right? You into having a sugar mama?" At first, Lorenzo recoiled. "Dog, I thought we were friends. I'm not into you like that." I laughed. "Not me, silly. Nah, I had this friend, see? Met her through one of my old jobs. She got me started in this business. Massively rich, and she loves taking care of guys. Even financially, she loves it." "No, man, I already got a girl," said Lorenzo, playing with the gold chain around his neck that I was sure Zoe gave him. "Can your girl give you a Maserati?" I asked him. And that was that. Lorenzo left the condo the next day, and Zoe was distraught. For over a week, she and the girls stayed home, binge-watching chick flicks and gorging on popcorn and soda until they fell asleep on the couch. With that done, my plan kicked into high gear. What would cheer up Leech Incorporated the most? That's right, a spa day. I gave Zoe a voucher to one of my friend's luxury spas. "Here," I said as I handed it to her. "I don't know why y'all been loafing and moping around more than usual, but I thought this might cheer you up." Just like that, all 6 pairs of eyes lit up as if I'd just handed them Sauron's ring. Without even a thank you or a look of gratitude, they left. Of course, the voucher was fake, and when the girls were done choosing and enjoying the most lavish offerings at the spa, they ended up not having any money to pay with. I was intently watching my phone when the call I was expecting came. "Ethan?" came Zoe's voice. "Yes, honey?" I said with as much sweetness as I could manage. "Ethan, honey, the voucher bounced, and we don't have any money," she said. I could hear the desperation through the phone. "I'll be right there," I said. And I was, because I was waiting outside with my camera. That day, I'd arranged for my friend Almira to bring her new sugar baby Lorenzo to the same spa. And just as the girls were being hauled out by mall security, Lorenzo and Almira emerged from their own treatments. The look on Zoe's face was priceless, almost as priceless as the confused muttering from Courtney's pursed lips. At that, Zoe went ballistic. She tackled the security guards and lunged at me. The footage I got finally convinced the judge to grant my annulment on grounds of insanity.